Hi, and welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to talk about key insight 3, agricultural productivity and innovation. Well, according to many estimates like the United Nations, the human population globally is expected to reach 9.7 billion by the year 2050. And in order to meet the demand of the population, the agriculture industry will have to produce at least 50% more feed, food, and biofuel than it did in 2012. But despite the improvements of overall agricultural efficiencies, the yield increases are slowing down globally. However, the increase in efficiency of agricultural production also has led to a lot of downside and negative consequences. So, things like land degradation, salinization of irrigated areas, loss of biodiversity, increasing and growing threats of pests like locusts, what we're seeing right now, things like deforestation and global greenhouse gas emissions. And currently, around 50% of the habitable land on this planet is used for agriculture. So, increasing population is forcing the industry to come up with new innovative solutions of increasing the production or what we call yield without increasing the arable land. And if you look at this graph of crop yields from 1961 to 2018, we have seen significant increases in terms of potatoes and bananas as well as cassava, and also a decent improvement in maize, rice, wheat, and things like barley. So, the instant glance that we look at that graph, we can see that it's doing well, the yield is increasing, but if you map it against the population, it's not that particularly significant. For example, if you look at this graph, which is cereal production and cereal yield and population increase. Yes, the cereal production and cereal yield are increasing compared to the population. But one of the noteworthy factors is if you look at the bottom land used for cereal, it's very low. So even though production has increased, the land usage has been low, meaning we are trying to maximize the output of the limited resources of land that we have. So in this graph, you can see that the arable land needed to produce a fixed quantity of crops has been decreasing all around the world from 1961. And this will continue to decrease due to things like innovation, much more efficiency, and sustainable practices that we are eventually moving into. But one of the noteworthy factors to remember is that if you look at the global agriculture yield consumption, only 55% is used for human consumption, 36% is used for animal feed, and 9% is used for biofuels and other industrial uses. So even though yield is increasing, the amount of agricultural produced for human consumption is not keeping up with the rising population. So if you look at agricultural innovation, there are many factors which determine innovation in the agriculture industry. So things like gross expenditure on research and development, ease of getting credit, intensity of local competition, and number of patent applications, and things like that. So even though we have achieved great breakthroughs in terms of increasing the yield without increasing the arable land for production, there are things like genetically modified organisms or GMO products, biofertilizers, and other technological innovations. There are lots of unknown factors about these advanced technologies. So things like what's the long-term repercussions or long-term impact on the environment and things like that, which we're going to discuss in one of our next lectures. Well, that's about it for Key Insight 3. I'll see you on another lecture.